Hi everybody, Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio, and today we're talking about the one reason, or one of the reasons, that you may not be seeing the muscle that you've been busting it for in the gym every day. So a lot of people go and they lift hard, they move hard, they exercise all the time, and they just aren't seeing that muscle tone, the definition, or the bulk that they're working for, and they can't figure out what the deal is. Well, did you know that 65% of women and 25% of men typically have something called hypermobility, and that's where the joints move beyond their normal range of motion. So take my elbow for instance. If I could straighten my arm and it goes straight, that would be normal range of motion from a bend to straight. But if someone could bend their arm backwards and continue bending here, then you're going to see what's called hypermobility. Now there's going to be different degrees of hypermobility, just like there are with everything else. We have to make sure that we've got a clear handle on how far that is. So I've had people as small cases or as low degrees as minor hypermobility. So they might lock their elbows or they might stand with locked knees, and that would be on a minor scale. I've also worked with people who had major hypermobility. It was like their connective tissue was almost like Swiss cheese, more like a cargo net than anything, where you just kind of pull and it keeps going. Those are the people that can say stand still and put their hands down at their feet and flip their feet over and flip, kind of contortionist style. So that really, even though it looks cool as a party trick, is not healthy for your body. It can actually lead to a lot of damage. The problem is that a lot of people don't know how to handle that situation. So they keep trying to stretch, they don't feel anything. They keep trying to work out, they keep getting hurt. These are the people at that severe of a level who are walking down the street and their hip pops out of place. Now on the minor level, you don't really notice it. All you know is that maybe your back hurts or your knees hurt or your feet hurt, things like that. And those are all things that can be prevented through better posture training, better form training on what you're doing. But here's the thing. If you're locking out your joints whenever you're exercising, no matter what degree of hypermobility you have, so let's say that you did a plank and you lock your elbows through. So as you're holding that plank, instead of seeing the elbows here, where the outside of the elbow, this part, is right there on the side, instead you start seeing the front of the elbow come through and you notice that push through. What you've just done is you've disengaged the muscles and you've really put an engagement on the joints for stability. So basically you've locked a post in place with your joints and let the muscles just kind of do their thing. They're just hanging out. So the problem is, yeah, you can hold that plank, you may be able to rock that thing for like 5 minutes, but you're wearing down the joints when you do that. So think about a push-up, same thing. You go down to that push-up. As you come up, if you lock those elbows out, anytime that you lock a joint, you have to unlock a joint, and that's typically somewhat of a violent reaction within the body that constantly tears down that connective tissue and the padding between all the joints as well. So you start to break down those joints over time and lead to more destruction in the body, which leads to joint replacements later on and uncomfortable things that we don't want to get into. So think about it. The most common ones that we see, other than just knees locking, is your plank, your push-up, your arm curls, where people drop them all the way down, pull them all the way up. Your balance poses, where maybe you're doing yoga and all of a sudden your hips like kicked out to the side and you lock that hip joint in place. So when you do that, not only do you break down the joints, but you really disengage those muscles, which means the muscle fibers are not working. They're not contracting properly. I won't say they were not working at all, because you have to have muscles. But they're not working properly. They're not fully contracting the way that they're supposed to, and therefore you're not actually building the muscle that you're wanting to build. So you get most of the muscle build in your negative work, which a lot of times is true. I mean, we do want to work on that negative, on that descent, say on a push-up when we're coming down to the floor. But we still want to be able to get the benefit of the positive work as well as we're pushing away, and we can only do that if we continue to keep stress on the muscles. So as we go into that push-up, for instance, we come down, we've got stress on the muscles, we push up, we've got stress on the muscles, and then we relax. It's almost like we just took a break for a minute. And so everything disengages, has to re-engage, and we go again. And so the more that you can keep continuous stress on that muscle, the more you're going to like the muscle tone, muscle bulk, the muscle strength that you get from it. So depending on what you're working towards, obviously, would depend on what results you're getting. So as you add a slight bend in the elbow, and so maybe in that plank you just add a slight bend, you're going to increase your ability to build muscle, your ability to stabilize with your muscles, and even your mobility at times. So think about that balance pose again. If I'm holding here, I'm going to fall over if I start to lose my balance. But if I hold here and unlock that joint, now I've got more room where I can kind of wiggle and be able to still hold that balance. So same goes for a lot of exercises. Now, we mentioned the locked knees, so I wanted to step into that for just a second. Here at the studio, we do a Fit 3D body scan where we see a silhouette of each person from the front, the side, and we're able to look at their posture with them. And it's kind of a neat experience because a lot of people haven't ever seen stuff like that and really been able to tell, wow, that's my posture. Because what do we look at when we're looking at posture? Most people, from a general perspective, look at this, right? So it's shoulders, it's belly, it's not really anything else. Like, that's all that they see, unless there's something major going through the body where we're shifted or something. So what most people are seeing is not the actual truth. What we see in posture is we see that it starts from the ground up, because that's the thing that's connected to the floor, right? So from the ground up, and when you lock out your knees, what tends to happen, I know you can't see all of me here, but as you lock out your knees, so if I stand straight here, and then all of a sudden I lock my knees, you'll notice first thing in my back, right? So I just put a deeper arch in my back, which also let my stomach push forward. So now my stomach can't contract fully, and now I'm going to be fighting to pull myself up, which doesn't usually happen. It just puts a lot of stress here on the low back. So that can lead to some low back pain, some hip pain, some sciatic issues, all those kinds of things. Because at that point, you just put your main emphasis of pivot here at the spine, so it's now tipping the rest of you forward. So your legs may be straight, your knees are keeping you upright because your body is leaning forward, so something has to go to the back. What also happens is, as you do that, and you've got your head here off the center line, so if I'm in a straight line here, and I've got my head forward off my center line, that actually turns on all of my back extensor muscles. Your extensor muscles are the ones that hold you upright. So if you were doing a Superman on the floor and you lift it up, that would be your extensor muscles. And those are all on fire. And so they stay contracting all the time, and it can lead to more back pain, it can lead to shoulder pain, it can lead to neck pain, headaches, you name it. So all from locking your knees, right? So if you give yourself a little more mobility, bend those knees, not only are you going to have more give to be able to move, you're going to have better balance, you're going to be able to perform movements better, get better muscle tone, better strength, but you're also going to keep away these aches and pains that a lot of people just feel are chronic issues when they just need to take a few moments each day to practice their posture. So those are my little tips for the day. Hope you got something great out of it. If you would like some help assessing your body, seeing where you're starting from, seeing what your posture looks like, finding out if you're hypermobile, and finding exercises that work for you to make a difference towards your goals, we'd love to help you out. Feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188, and we'll talk to you soon.